Your focus is past lives, which is really interesting. Not a lot of psychotherapists go in that direction. What was your journey? What led you to this? And, why focus on the past lives?
Well, I guess it started when I was 15 and I studied metaphysics and learned about karma and reincarnation. And it just felt true to me, even though I went to Catholic elementary school and my parents were Baptist. Something never quite clicked about that, even though, I got a good religious foundation. But when I started to really dig a little deeper, I started to learn about karma and reincarnation, and it just made sense. So later, when I was in undergrad, I wanted to study psychology. It just lit up for me.
Right.
But when I read all the research on outcome studies of psychotherapy, unfortunately, the outcome studies suggested that people who actually experienced psychotherapy and the people who didn't experience psychotherapy to resolve a particular issue, there was no statistically significant difference, meaning the therapy didn't significantly improve outcome more than no therapy. So, I thought, okay, I'm going in a profession that has a process that really doesn't significantly improve a person's condition relative to not doing anything. And I thought that, there's a problem with that. Certainly having somebody to talk to feels good when you've got an issue or problem, but, I was very interested in results.
Fantastic.
So I started.
Go on.
Yeah. So I started to do a little more research in the field. And I remember when I was studying Freud, Freud actually started out doing hypnotic regression in the beginning of his career. And he found it incredibly effective initially, but there was, unfortunately, people relapsed. And he didn't understand kind of why, because it seemed to work really well in the beginning, but then there was a relapse. And, with my understanding of past lives, I thought, well, if you're just dealing with this lifetime, if you assume that we've lived many past lifetimes, maybe hundreds or thousands, then this lifetime is just the tip of the iceberg. And so what Freud was doing, it seemed to me, was that he was dealing with, traumas, challenges that he experienced in this lifetime, and he would resolve those through hypnotic regression. But because he wasn't going far enough back, his results were impermanent. So I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to do this work, I'm going to have to figure out a way to get a person back into the past lives, get them where a lot of these challenges started. And my assumption was that a lot of our, emotional, mental, a lot of our issues have their origin in past lives, in one or more past lives. So I really set out, even though I was traditionally trained, I set out to really learn how to access past lives to resolve issues.
You created your own therapy called Soul Journey Therapy. How does that differ from other forms of regression?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because typically hypnotic regression is called regression. Hypnotic processes are called hypnotic regression or age regression, and they use hypnosis. It occurred to me as a result of my studies in, you might say, metaphysics and consciousness, that ideally, if you're going to take somebody back into, let's say, early childhood, prenatal, past lives, then you want them to be fully conscious, not in a hypnotic trance. And so I was interested in finding a way to take a person back without putting them into a hypnotic trance so that they be fully conscious as they, you might say, experience a particular past life incident. And so that's the difference between soul journeys and hypnotic regression. Is soul journeys is a conscious process of reliving past lives and resolving issues, and hypnotic regression is relatively unconscious because the person's put in trance.